Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Occasionally in the course of our legislative work, I imagine each of us come into contact with someone who is quintessentially Oregon. Today I want to introduce you to someone of just that type, and I hope you'll join with me in honoring Gail Achterman. I'm privileged to play a small part in memorializing her here today because she was my constituent, but this is a tall order because she did a lot. Gail was a pioneer. She was a fourth-generation Oregonian with deep and broad experience in transportation issues, natural resource policy, and environmental law, just to name a few. She was born in Portland, raised in Salem, and she was a scholar and an athlete. As a South Salem High School Saxon, she earned the first letter awarded to a female in swimming in Saxon history. At Stanford, she was a three-sport athlete where she earned a bachelor's degree in economics before heading to the University of Michigan, where she earned law and master's degrees. She started her career in Washington, D.C. in the solicitor's office at the U.S. Department of Interior, where she advised the Bureau of Reclamation and the Bureau of Land Management. But after that, it was all Oregon. Came back to join what would become the Stoll-Reeves law firm and establish what I'm told was one of the Northwest's first law practices specializing in natural resource and environmental law, and started a career of public service that never ended with the Oregon Water Policy Review Board. Governor Goldschmidt asked Gail to be his assistant on natural resources, and for 4 years she was responsible for all manner of those policy development and implementation issues. Went back to private sector to practice law for a time, and then joined the Deschutes Resource Conservancy in Bend to develop voluntary market-based strategies for watershed restoration and enhancement. She was the first director of the Institute for Natural Resources, which brought together scientific and political expertise from our system of higher education and brought it to bear on natural resource management issues. But lately, and around here, Gail was perhaps best known as a member of the Oregon Transportation Commission. And I think it speaks to her impact there that the entire Transportation Commission has chosen to join us today in the upper gallery to honor her. Pat Egan, Dave Lehman, Mary Olson, Mark Frohnmeyer, Tammy Benny are all here. And this is where I best knew her, in the Transportation Commission role, where she was for 11 years, 4 years as chair. I was always impressed with her knowledge, her perspective, and her skill, but I want to make sure you're not taking my word for that. ODOT Director Matt Garrett had a nice summary of her work there and said that, I'm quoting, there are truly no words that can describe the impact Gail has had on this agency, the Transportation Commission, and on Oregon, as well as the national transportation debate. Her intelligence, dedication, and sacrifice is only surpassed by her humanity and caring for her fellow Oregonians. She concluded her career with something of a legacy project, Willamette Strategies, which focused on promoting a shared vision and understanding of our relationship to the Willamette Valley. The list of her service and her accomplishments is long, but I'm told she considered her most significant accomplishment, the thing she was most proud of, was her role in drafting the legislation that established the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area in 1981. So I hope you will think of her as I do the next time you travel through or to that special place in Oregon. Gail was an Oregonian through and through. She was an Oregon woman who was as comfortable in the halls of government as she was in the woods. And I think she's the sort of person that we would all like future Oregonians to be, someone who had high integrity, independence, and an ability to see our history and our future. The Oregonian had it right in their editorial published just after her death on January 30th. I'll quote from that. Achterman, a lifelong Oregonian and strong environmentalist, was a rare figure in Oregon public policy circles, someone who always seemed in the tough debates and the discussions for the right reasons, to figure things out, to find the solution, to get things done. My favorite line from this quote: "She wasn't an attention seeker, and my guess is that Achterman is probably the most intelligent, most effective public servant you've never heard of." End quote. Each of us can take lessons from her example, and I hope we will. In addition to the Transportation Commission, who is here, Gail's family is here with us. And on the side aisle, I'd like to introduce them. Gail's husband, Chuck McGinnis, and her sister-in-law, Ginny Achterman. So, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, I urge your aye vote today on this resolution and hope that you'll join me in honoring Gail Achterman and thanking her family and her colleagues for sharing her with us and with the state. We are better for her. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.